Broadcasting live right across Nelson Mandela Bay, 24 hours a day. We are Kingfisher FM.
18 minutes to 8 on this Saturday morning. I'm joined on the line by Talita Testify. Thank you so much for joining me. Good morning to you.
Good morning, and good morning to all the listeners.
Talita Testify, you are a motivational speaker, but you haven't always been a motivational speaker. You have a very good testimony. Well, I say good testimony, but it's also testimony in itself that it goes a long, long way. Take us to the start of this journey and what unfolded then.
When I was about 3 years old, my parents had this braai, and South Africa is very famous for their braais.
Yeah.
And what happens at a braai normally is that adults get involved, they start to have a drink or two, they get relaxed, and we tend not to cheer to watch our children because they play in the background and we think that they're safe. So what happened was I had this little white dress on, and I'll never forget it because I grew up in, I'd say, a mine home, so you can imagine. And so we had our clothes passed down from cousin to cousin to cousin, and eventually I got this little white dress. I was so proud of it. And it felt like I'm wearing Christmas. I was so happy. And I had to use the bathroom, so I went on my own. It was at my parents' house. And I went to sit on the loo, and I was trying to get myself up, and I can remember sitting on the loo and kicking my feet in the air. And as I reached for the paper, in the loo paper, I saw this big, and I called him for today, the shadow man, that came towards me. I can't remember his face though. And he started touching me and inserting his fingers into me, and just as quickly as it started, it was over. And I was left with this feeling of immense shame and embarrassment, and I didn't know what had just happened to me. And this continued all through my life. My grandfather actually started to rape me. And at the age of 10, I spoke to my mom. And I think, I don't think it's because she didn't want to believe me. I just think that if you go to anyone that loves your dad, that a woman that loves her dad completely and utterly, then when someone comes to them and tells them that I've just been raped, then there's a feeling of, is this real or not? And she didn't believe me.
Sorry, I was going to ask, so at that point, what went through your mind? I mean, you're now confiding in your mom and there's no response. I mean, what was going through your mind then?
Well, I was left to feel that I've got no one to rely on, I've got no one to trust, I'm not protected. And that as I grew up, I started feeling that it's going to kill me eventually because, the brutality of the rapes got really, really bad. And so at the later stage, I was about 16. I was in Wesselsbron in a high school there, and one of the teachers was giving science. And I spoke up, and I gathered as much courage as I could. And it's really not an easy thing to do, to speak out about this. It's horrific for any victim. They don't want to talk about it because they feel ashamed and they feel like it's something that should be swept under the carpet. And you have to just carry on with your life. And so my grades were slipping and I was doing really, really bad. At one stage I can remember the headmaster said to my parents that they think they should put me in a special school. They believed that mentally there's something wrong with me. In the midst of everything, there was this rape going on and I could speak to no one. And so I spoke to the teacher, and she also said to me, I'll never forget her response. She folded her arms and she looked me dead in the eyes, and she said to me, you know what? I'm going to, because I lived in a hostel back then. She said, I'm going to remove you from the girls' room. They put you in your own little room, and you're not allowed to play with them, talk to them, and communicate to them, because I think you're tainted, and I also think that what happened to you, and you're going to do the same to other girls. I was broken. I can't even begin to tell you how I felt in that moment. I was completely and utterly shattered. So, yet again, the system had failed me. And so at the young age of 16, the last time my grandfather raped me was at my parents' home over a weekend. Because now all through this, they still came to visit. We were still sent to them for holidays. And my mom always said to me that she and her dad doesn't want to hear anything about it and that I'm telling lies. But I never knew that my dad didn't actually know. My mom said she told him, but he really, in the middle of everything, he really didn't know about all of this. So the one weekend, while they were there and they said their goodbyes, and that was the worst of everything. I still had to kiss him goodbye every time and hello. I still had to be his pretty little granddaughter and act like a granddaughter in all of this. And I'll never forget, as they drove away, I was like so relieved. And every time I left, I was relieved because then I know I had a week or two or whatever to just try to get back to my normal life. And my dad put his arm around me and he said, "You look so sad. Don't worry. They'll be back next weekend." And then I knew I had to get away. So what I did is I packed my bags and I arranged with one of my friends, Irene. I arranged with one of her friends that was an older gentleman to take me to Bloemfontein. And eventually the evening came. There was I think it was a Wednesday evening. It was the middle of the winter. I can remember that. And I packed my bags and I waited till the house got silent. And I started to pack my bags and I proceeded to go to the lounge. And in the lounge, my younger sister sat, Madeline. And Madeline was watching TV. And she turned around and it was very late in the night. It was about 12:30, 1 o'clock. And she turned around, she said, "What are you doing? Where are you going for your stuff?" And I said to her, "I'm running away." And she said, "Why?" And I said, "I can't tell you now, but just promise me whenever Grandpa and Grandma come to visit, sleep with Henry, our brother, or go to Mom and Dad's room. Don't never be alone when they come to visit." I said to her, "I can't protect you any longer. I know it's my job, but I just can't." And I closed the door and I went out. He was waiting for me in a car. And we drove to Bloemfontein. Halfway on our way to Bloemfontein, he pulled off the road, and he said to me, "Okay, right now it's time for you to pay me." And I said, "But I don't have any money." And he said, "But you know what I'm talking about." So yet again, I was violated on my way, as I saw it, to freedom. And then I got to Bloemfontein. He dropped me at Sanlam Plaza, at the front of Sanlam Plaza. It was ice cold, and he just drove away. And I was standing there, 16-year-old girl. I was standing there, and I had nothing, no money, nowhere to go, no plans for the future, but I felt so relieved. I felt like, like freedom. For the first time in my life, I just felt complete freedom. And I started to cry. Not because I'm alone in this big city that I've never been, but because I'm alone, and I felt like for the first time no one can touch me. So while I was standing there for about, I don't even know how long I was there. And this old wormy uncle came and he circled the block and he circled the block again, and he had this white taxi cab, and he stopped and he asked me, "Is everything okay?" And I said, "Yeah, no, I'm just waiting for a friend." And he started circling the block, and after about the 8th or 10th time, he said, "Okay, like, you're not okay, you're clearly not okay. Come sit in the car with me and talk to me. I won't do anything to you. Just speak to me." So I thought, you know what? Maybe this is a chance for me to confide in someone, and maybe they can help me. So I got in his car, and he started driving it, and I told him the whole story. And he said to me, "Don't worry, I know a place of safety for girls just like you. And they will take such good care of you, and they will pay you good money to work with there, and you just don't have to worry ever again. Your problems are solved forever." And he looked so kind, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to trust him, because where else am I going to go anyway? So within less than 10 minutes, we ended up at this place in Restaurant Street, and we walked in, And as we walked in, the gates closed behind us. There was two big guys at the gate, and I started feeling uneasy. And he just kept on assuring me that I'll be fine, I don't have to worry about anything. And within seconds, I saw the lady behind the counter paying 500 Rand for me. And he left, and he said to her, take good care of her, and she said, not a problem. She asked me to turn around to twirl for her, and I thought that's strange. And so I did. I twirled around, and she looked at me and she said, well, you'll do, and you're going to meet the owner. And I just started following instructions. For some reason, I just didn't say anything. And she took me to this back room where the owner sat. His name was Willem. And I sat down with him. He said to me, do you want brandy and Coke? I said, no, I don't drink and I don't smoke. He said, well, you're going to do night? And I said, no, I just don't want anything. Please, thank you. And I just sat there, and he started talking to me, and he told me how pretty I am and how much money I'm going to make. And he said to me, do you know what we do here? I said, well, do I have to do housework, or what do I have to do? And he said, no. And he started to laugh. He said, no, honey, we do something slightly different here. But don't worry, we're going to take care of you. And he then proceeded to give me brandy and Coke. And I didn't want to insult him, so I drank it. And that was the biggest mistake I've ever made in my life. The next morning I woke up. I was tied to a single bed, and I was one of like 20 or 30 children then, and I was the oldest. And this was a brothel. And men started coming in and out of this brothel, and some girls would just come in one day, disappear the next. They would often have people photographing us, and that's basically what happened. I was sold, and I was in the middle of this human trafficking ring. What counted in my favor that I was still in South Africa, that I was left here, was my age. They were more into younger children. There was one girl that was at the age of 5. I'll never forget it. And I remember hearing the screams of men, like adult men raping this girl. And you know what? We often think that this is a place where, when you think of pedophiles, you often think of this scary monster guy. But really, there was this, in our room, there was 3 girls, and the girl next to me was also in the bed. And she actually died on that bed. But before she died, there was a pastor, actually, that came in. He said he claimed that he was a pastor of a church. There were several policemen coming there. There was a lawyer that visited us. Even a doctor took me out one day. And I didn't at the time knew he was a doctor. But then he put me, the last day I was in that house. I think it's about a month or 2 that I was there. And they kept on feeding us what they called vitamins to make it easier for us. But it was, at the end of the day, it was a drug. I still don't know what drug it was. And the last day I was there, he put me in a shower, this guy that came to pay for us. And they paid the lady at the front. They will come through to use us. And if we refused, we would get beaten really badly. So he just did what they say. You do what you're told to do. And I was in the shower, and he defecated on me, and he urinated on me, and he started screaming bad things at me, and over and over and over and over tell me that I'm a whore and nothing but a whore, and I'll never be anything but a whore. I've got no value. And the strange thing is, as his words left his lips every single time, it started to resonate with me. I started to believe that is all I am. Because if you now think about this whole story, my story is that from the age of 3, I've been sexually abused, and nobody listened. And I didn't have any friends. I was severely bullied at school because I didn't want to talk to anyone. I got scared, to get close to anyone. And I just gave up. I literally just gave up. I stopped living, and I just decided, you know what, I'll just go with it. And the next day, after this man left, the next day, a cleaning lady came in to clean the house, and the house was uncomfortably silent. Like silent, like I can't even explain to you, like dead silent.
Mm.
There was usually screams or ghost talking or chattering in the background. That day there was hardly any sound in the house. And there was, except the girl that died next to me on the bed, there was nobody else but us two in the room. And the cleaning lady came in and she said to me, "Why do you do these things?" And I said to her, "No, I don't want to do this thing. It's not what I want, but I don't have anywhere to go." And she said, "Where's your parents?" And I said, "No, they're in the Northwest Province in a small town." And she said, "Why don't you phone them?" And I said, "How?" She said, "Well, these people left. There's nobody here now." And I just thought, what? She said, "Yeah, it's just you and a couple of girls that's here now. The house has been cleaned out. There's like a bed. The bed in our room is still there." And she said, I said to her, "What?" And she said, "Yes." And she untied me. And I went back. I followed her into this office, and I found my mom. And I just found my mom, and I said, "Ma, can you come fetch me at Bloemfontein?" And she started crying, and she's like, "Yes, where are you?" And I spoke to her, and I said to her where to meet me, and I decided to let her go to a coffee shop in Bloemfontein in the shopping center in Sanlam Plaza Place, where I knew, because my parents would often buy groceries in Bloemfontein, so I knew the place. I didn't want it to come. I didn't want it to come to the brothel, because I didn't want it to think that, that I'm a whore. Yeah. Or a prostitute, whatever you want to call it. And so she came and she fetched me. And as I got back, she said to me, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm getting undressed and everything." She said, "No, we're going to take you back to Bloemfontein. We're going to put you into a hospital called Louis Pasteur." Now today, you guys, the people in Bloemfontein know Louis Pasteur as Bloemcare. It's like it's a psychiatric hospital. Okay. And I asked her, "What is it?" And she said to me, "Well, you're broken and you need to be fixed." And actually, all I needed was just a little love, just a little understanding, and just a mom that will just listen and just listen, And so they took me to Louis Pasteur Hospital, and a nurse started showing us around. And as we walked, there were stairs, and as we walked up the stairs, a man came downstairs, and we met halfway. And I looked in his eyes. He was a doctor there, and that was the guy that had me in the shower. And I said to my mom, "We need to go." And she said, "No, we're not going anywhere. You're going to stay here." And yeah, luckily I never saw that house. That I think he got scared, actually, to be quite honest with you. I never saw him the whole time I was there. I never spoke to anyone while I was there because I didn't want to. Eventually the psychologist told my parents they can't do anything for me because I didn't want to open up. And by this time I was so scared to open up to anyone about everything that's happened that I just kept it to myself. I went back home and I matriculated, and I started rebuilding my life again. Do we still have time?
I do. You know what? I'm sitting here listening to your story, and my jaw is on the floor because of what you've gone through. And I just don't want to interject anymore because I think that I just need you to offload. But I need you to offload, but also just pause for a second, because I need to get people involved here, because I think it's only important that we highlight the fact that, you've been through this terrible experience. You are delivering a testimony that is going to be significant to some or most who find themselves in this predicament. And if there are any questions, because, where do I start? And I want to come back and continue this testimony. But if there are any questions, listeners that are listening now that have any questions, you can send those questions to me for Talita on 0721472321, and we'll continue with Talita's testimony in a short while from now.
Real, relevant radio. Kingfisher FM.
We continue with the discussion, or in fact, I speak to Talita van der Heever, who's, are you still there?
I am, yes.
Good, thank you. So, Talita, just to continue, I was listening to your testimony from the start. I'm still baffled by the fact that you never received the consolation from your mum. Explain to me, did that ever materialize? Did she at some point come to you, and did you ever reveal what problems you endured?
You know what? I'm going to first answer your question partly by saying that I actually thought that I'm the only one who's got this problem. But however, I am every second weekend, I'm on the stage somewhere in South Africa, and I'm telling my story, and I'm also motivating after the story. A little bit, and every single time, women come to me and say, you know what, I've got the same problem with my mom. You know what, I've got the same problem with my mom. And I'm talking about age difference with women from the age of 16 to the age of 20, or 25 to 45 to 55 to 60. And it seems that this is a reoccurring problem in South Africa. I think it's because of how we were raised. When I say how we were raised is, South African women at one point was raised to be only that. We didn't have any rights. We didn't have any, we couldn't even vote at one stage. And then there was also the fact that there's a very, I want to almost say Afrikaans thing between, I don't know about other cultures, but I also think the Ghouls are the same thing. The woman is there to work and to feed the children, and so that is your sole purpose. You don't have another purpose in life. It's just to be there and be obedient and be that woman. There's nothing wrong with obedience, but not to that thing where people can abuse you and you've got no rights. You can't speak out. Nobody will listen to you. So I think that was the biggest thing in my mom was that's how she was raised. So she actually just followed the system that she was taught. And so years later, my mom did. Yes, she did came to me, and she said she's very sorry. She came to me actually because the one day I had my own coffee shop at one stage, and my cousin came to visit me. And she was still in school, and she started reading my journal. And she was sobbing so hard in my room. I lived in the same place where the coffee shop was, that people could hear her. And I went upstairs, and I said to her, "What are you doing?" She was surrounded by all my journals. And she said, "What happened to you, it happened to me, and it happened to my cousin, to our other cousin as well." And I closed the coffee shop. I actually asked people to leave, and because I tended to her problem first. And I said to her, "Magda, what are you talking about?" And she explained to me that how repeatedly my opa has also raped her and molested her and her sister. And then we started phoning, and it turned out that he did quite a number on favor of my cousin. And then eventually, we went to speak to Magda's mom, who listened to us. And she then got in touch with my mom, and then everything was open. For the first time, everything was open. And then she didn't believe us. And so she came to me and she said she's so sorry. But by then, he passed away, and it was a hard, long journey. I was so angry with my mom for so many years. And only later in life, I almost want to say, I can say my sister passed away last year. And she always tried to consolidate the two of us, get us together to just be in a room without fighting and just be in a room without hating each other so much. And with her passing, we 3 children. And with my niece passing, the day just straight after she passed away, I felt it my responsibility to go to my mom, because now she only has one daughter left, and that daughter was me. And I said to her, you know what, it's time. It's time to just put the past behind us and just love each other and just build a real mom and daughter relationship. And she said, she thinks it's the same. But she has been trying for many, many years, and I was the one that always pushed her away. And I just didn't want to forgive her. And in that moment, I just decided, God, please help me. And I forgave her. And we have been building on for a year now this beautiful relationship that is unfolding. And I'm discovering who my mom is, And I've came to understand that she cares for her family through baking and cooking. And so, we've just become good friends. I really do love her. She does. Finally, I can now listen to her guidance and stuff. But there is still times where I'm angry. But I mean, that's just normal mom and daughter nonsense.
Talita, I think that it's great to know that you've cemented that relationship with your mom, and now you found solace with her, and that was great. And what I want to know is, was there at ever a point where you thought, okay, my life is now seemingly coming together? You've built that relationship with your mom, you've cemented it again. Was there at that point, did you think that from here on in, going forward, my life will become much more and much better?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
My life just became better. There was another incident in my life where I was hijacked. But I think that it's all in my audiobook. If people want to get my audiobook, they can contact me and listen to the whole story. But yeah, definitely, I think that there's freedom in the Word of God. My dad, quite recently, about 3 or 4 years ago, no, I'm lying, about 2012, yes, he started listening to Angus Bacham and his preachings and stuff like that. Because my parents were never really, they knew of God, but they weren't living the relationship with God. And so the strangest thing happened when Dad turned his life to God, when he became a reborn Christian. Suddenly it trickled down to our whole family.
Wow. And
that was quite amazing. He started buying books of Angus Bacham. The first movie he showed me was Ordinary People. And I was watching this movie and all these broken men and how they transformed their lives. And I suddenly realized, wait a minute, if they can do it, then I can do it. And my parents started filling me with videos of Numa and Joyce Meyer and all these amazing Christian speakers, Louis Giglio. And I was just watching these videos day after day after day. And then I got a job at Kiziko Lodge. I think the listeners might know of Kiziko Lodge because I suppose you got quite a lot. And it's called The Place of Glory. Now, the manager there, Katrina Belanga, I confided in her. And she was like, she's my spiritual mom. And so she took me for deliverance, and she took me through the whole process of becoming a Christian, Deliverance, I think, is one of the most biggest things that you have to go through. And so I prayed with Word of Faith Church. I prayed, and they helped me deliver and cut all the bonds of Jezebel and all that. And since that day, after they cut the bond and the curse of Jezebel over my life and anointed me with the blood of Jesus, nothing ever bad happened again sexually.
Wow.
In fact, I actually got the most beautiful husband now, a Christian husband that loves me so much, and he just carries me.
Oh.
And my relationship with my mom is so strong now, and it's just amazing what the Word of God did, and God's children. And that's the thing. I think that we're all put on this earth to serve each other.
It's all about purpose, isn't it?
It is, really, it is. You know what? I think it was Oprah that said the difference between a broken community and a broken country and a thriving one is how people value their women in their country.
Yeah. Well,
and so that's exactly what's happening now in my life. Is I'm going from strength to strength, basically, and I'm meeting all these amazing women on a daily basis. They share their stories with me, and we give them the help that they need if they do need help. And it's just an amazing thing how God used my wounds and we turned it into wisdom.
Awesome. I think that, your testimony certainly speaks volumes of the strength of a woman. I'm always, I'm always, excited when I mention that the strength of a woman is something that can not be matched ever. And I think your story this morning really did inspire. It motivated me to such a point where I need to go back home and give my wife just another big hug and I do it on a daily basis. But Talita, before I let you go, because I know that we're running out of time, I had a message that was sent to me earlier, and it's in Afrikaans. So, hulle gaan my Afrikaans toets vanoggend. So, byt maar net vas, né? Dit sê so, Talita, ek wil net vir jou 'n groot stywe drukkie gee. Ek het ook deurgemaak wat jy deurgemaak het, maar nie so erg nie. My verhouding met God is al wat my anderkant laat uitkom het. Nie heel nie, maar ek raak gesond deur met mense te praat oor wat ek deurgemaak het. So, I think that someone relating to your experience, certainly sharing that with you. And I think, you know what, you need to go and inspire more people with your story. And I think you're doing a friend.
Yes, that's right, yes. And I'm always open to ladies' events, ladies' teas, whatever. Guys, I don't charge for my services at all. All you need to do is just, if I need to travel, then whoever just have to cover the travel charge, and I just don't charge at all. If you want to make a donation towards my living and helping other people, then I'm grateful for that. But mostly, let's just get the message out there. Invite me and let's just make this a great ladies' tea. And I also help lots of NPOs to raise funds for their causes.
Is there anywhere that people can connect with you or contact you, or shall I?
Yes, yes, certainly.
Yes.
My email address is simply Talita, Talita, with my surname Heever, Heever, @gmail.com.
Okay.
So that's Talita Heever @gmail.com. And then my cell phone number, if you want to WhatsApp me, is 061 971 1533.
Talita van der Heever, you've certainly been an inspiration this morning. Thank you so much for tuning, for talking to me, because I think that, I still am, I've got goose flesh when I speak to you. I hope to someday, I hope someday I can meet up with you and have a cup of coffee just to chat further, because I'm sure that you have lots more to discuss with me.
Yes, definitely. I'm actually wanting to do a ladies' function with Kingfisher. So, yeah, I'm very excited about that. I will phone still to do that.
Great stuff, Talita. Thank you so much for chatting, and have a great day. And thank you so much for inspiring us. And stay blessed.
It's a pleasure. I just want to leave the listeners with a verse in the Bible that means a lot to me.
Yes.
And it's the famous verse in Esther, as Esther 4 verse 14. And it says, maybe you were brought to the kingdom for such a time as this. And I just want to tell the listeners, all the ladies out there, that you are powerful, you are strong, you are worthy, and you are so special in your own unique way. And remember, you're perfect in your imperfections. And always remember, every single day, wherever you go, that you touch life. And that in that moment that you touch someone else's life, you were born for a moment such as that.
Wow. Thank you so much, Talita. God bless you, and stay motivated.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
The soundtrack of your life's journey. Kingfisher FM.